state sucks.
All right, so Texas Republicans propose the creation of a vigilante group to hunt migrants at the border that will have immunity from prosecution.
That's some hardcore shit, dude.
That's
Texas is like...
Wait, what? Can you say that one more time?
Is this vigilante
Texas
group, hunt
Republicans
migrants at the border?
Propose creation of vigilante group to hunt migrants at the border that will have immunity from prosecution.
But is it vigilante if it's government sanctioned?
No, that's not vigilante.
Yeah.
Government sanctioned.
Is this a response from the El Paso?
What the fuck?
This isn't government sanctioned. This is just Republican people wanting to do
This
it.
is it. Lawmakers in Texas specifically.
That's a good answer.
The bill, House Bill 20, would allow Texas Department of Public Safety to hunt, arrest, and deport undocumented migrants. The group would be comprised of law enforcement officers and civilians under the direction of a governor-selected chief. The members of the group would also be extended immunity from criminal prosecution relating to their actions on the border. They will be directed to arrest, detain, and deter individuals crossing the border illegally, including with the use of non-deadly force. The group will also apparently be authorized to use force to repel, arrest, and detain known transnational cartel operatives in the border region.
This is what vigilantes always do.
They want just say that again. They want vigilantes to arrest cartel operatives.
No,
so they're not
want
official border patrol, right?
They want it's a combination of law enforcement officers and civilians under the direction of the government selected chief. They're supposed to use non-deadly force for migrants that are trying to just cross the border illegally.
Yeah.
However, they're allowed to use force to repel, arrest, and detain known transnational cartel operatives in the border.
Pretty
Okay,
hardcore.
so if the guy appears to be a cartel guy, you can use force.
If he's Mexican,
which I think is just like here's clear loopholes.
Yeah.
We're hooking you up.
Why would you want to go after a cartel guy as a citizen?
Exactly, dude.
There's also half cops too.
Why would you want to do this shit?
Yeah, dude.
I saw this pretty crazy documentary that's been going on in at the border in New Mexico, and there's a bunch of vigilante groups because they come from these poor border towns. They all look like Trevor's, and basically there's no law enforcement. There's like one sheriff for every like 50 miles, right? And then like so when a cartel crew comes through or whatever, they're just helpless. They don't know what to do. And then so they'll use the resources of the town. They'll just start like harassing members. And then it's like, it literally looks like an old school Western. It's like, I mean, my first question would be like, where's the federal government helping?
Yeah.
And then like, how do we keep those towns safe? But a lot of the vigilante groups were basically asking for help from all these different like states or whatever. And then there's volunteers that go, but that's all they have to do is like they have to be the patrol, because the cartel dudes would just run in and like it's like a route for their.
It is a thing. I've seen a lot of crazy fucking videos from this shit.
Yeah.
Like of ranchers who like live on the border and like they're just dealing with cartel members all the time. Like and like not just like some migrant who's coming in, like armed dudes who are like actually checking the property out, seeing if it's empty, and trying to like take it over for like a couple nights.
Damn, that's crazy.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, and those are the things that I'm like, wait, don't we have a military and like, don't we have like, yeah, all that stuff? And I guess certain places, like the border's massive, right?
Yeah.
California, we got tons of fucking money, but like states like New Mexico, and then also like the manpower, we have like millions of people versus like New Mexico, they don't have shit. As for like, and most people live in like the northern part, right? So it's like, how do you incentivize? And then they don't even have enough tax money in that town to generate like, so everyone just, they rely on volunteer police work.
Well, bro, like I got a neighbor, right? He's from the UK. It took him forever to get a fucking green card just so he could go home and come back. Like, and he's married to a fucking American. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I think if they cleaned up a lot of this nonsense in the State Department where it takes forever for people to get approved, like that would help a lot. But instead people got to do all kinds of desperate means because they want to support their families. I can't blame anybody. I would do the same exact shit.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what I don't get is like, so people, there's a lot of good, honest immigrants that just want to come work. That's all they want to do. And most of them don't want to stay. They just want to work, send money back, and then maybe when their country's stable again, they'll go back. Like in most fucking cases, that's the story, right? And then, but there is a segment of like extremists that would paint this picture of migrants come here to fucking be on welfare, pop out multiple kids, and then like just exploit American welfare systems. And I'm all like, there might be, but it's
pretty rare.
What I've seen mostly is poor immigrants are coming here,
workers, bro.
and they're the backbone of the country.
They got 5 jobs.
They're the ones, they're doing all the jobs that once you become a citizen, you don't want.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It's a really tough thing to think
It's
about.
a weird topic.
Yeah.
There is a piece of companion legislation that would make undocumented entry into Texas a state crime, with first-time offenders subject to a year in prison, 2 years in prison for second-time offenders, and life in prison for individuals with prior felony convictions. Democrats in Texas are opposed to the bill, likening the legislation to a, quote, vigilante death squads policy.
Yeah, it's like a lynch mob, dude.
I agree with that. Fully.
It sounds too.
Seems sketch. Seems like it's gonna end bad.
Seems like some people who are trying to like do some comic book shit.
Yeah.
Because if I had a personal vendetta and I hated immigrants, that's a perfect opportunity for me to whoop some
Sign
ass.
me up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like, let me get on my horse and fucking get my noose ready. Like that's
obviously people who feel very strongly about this issue.
yeah.
And who want to like make some change. So I don't know. I just feel like it's a slippery slope.
It is. It says, quote, this dangerous, radical, and unconstitutional proposal, which empowers border vigilantes to hunt migrants and racially profile Latinos, is going to result in the death of innocent people.
Can we give it up though that they're proposing it instead of just doing it?
Pretty cool.
That's pretty sick, actually. If you think about vigilantes, I'm like, no,
They just do it.
do it. Who proposes? It's like Kick-Ass being like, I'm not gonna do shit until I fucking get this passed by the Senate.
Oh my god. Yeah, true.
The superhero bill gets passed.
Or Phoenix Jones.
Why can't we have a more efficient system, like for work program? You know,
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Like also people from countries that are actually like if they go back, they're gonna be murdered.
Yep.
Like I mean, I know it's not our problem, but then there's so much fucking land here. You know, there's so much space.
People are hiring all the time.
We have a crazy shortage of just regular fucking jobs.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, amnesty used to be a real thing.
it used to be.
Now people are like, they want to take that away, I guess, or something. People are like, oh, people are gaming the amnesty system. I'm like, I think they have a good argument.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know enough about the way that the system works to why it's fucked up the way it is. And in different states have different policies, right? Like, because I get it. It's like, why is it fair that a northern state is making all these rules about immigration when it's the southern states that get hit with it? Yeah. So
Totally
so then
fair.
it's like, well, if you guys are gonna sit in Washington and you don't have to deal with the resource repercussions of having an influx of millions of new people, then why don't you deal with it?
But
And
guess
then
where they
go up?
go, though? You think they hang out in these border towns? They actually do go.
They go all over America.
Yeah, all over, and especially metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
That's what happened with. If you remember the Ron DeSantis thing, he's like, "Oh, we're going to take all these, migrants who came to Florida
They bust, yeah.
and bust them up to Martha's Vineyard."
Yeah.
And it was a total obvious publicity stunt, because he's going to run for president and shit. But then in Martha's Vineyard, they're like, "Yeah, we don't want you here.
Yeah.
We're going to bust you the fuck out of here."
Even though it was a stunt, it was a pretty strong statement.
And that's what I thought. When I heard about it, I was like, that's a stunt. He's running for president. I'm a cynical person. But then I was like, that was a strong statement, because Martha's Vineyard, they're like, get the fuck out of here.
Because they did say, we don't have anything we can't help them.
They're like, we love you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we love you. Get the fuck out of
But
here.
they exposed the hypocrisy.
Yeah, they did.
Big
Yeah.
time. The actual quote was, we don't have the resources to help any of them.
But we got you a bus ticket to get the fuck out.
And that's what sucks, right? It's like, it's this like virtue signaling. It's this like, oh, we gotta help them, but you guys are wrong.
Not here, though. Not here.
But you help them, not me.
You help them in your state.
Yeah.
The border towns aren't welcoming enough. That's why they're coming here. But you need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that was a really... And you know what's crazy? It's such a ballsy move that they did that, because they knew nothing would happen to them. They knew that, they could just kick them out again. 100%. Nothing happened. Nobody came up there pissed.
Why wasn't it on the news every night, too, that they kicked them out?
Yeah.
If Trump did that shit, if he was, kicking them out, they would have been like, yo, Trump's kicking all these people out.
Yeah, exactly.
But it says people in Nantucket kicking them out, and they're like, Well, they should do it.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Right, it's wild.
Wow.
It's wild that there was no repercussion for that at all.
But on the flip side too, right? Like there are so many people that do exploit the citizen
system?
Yeah. So like you have to check it, and it makes it's a brutal process because like we know that there's marriage fraud. We know that there's sex trafficking. We know that all these things happen so frequently.
We know
right?
the 90-day fiance is happening.
So that agents have to scrutinize and make sure that they're not letting in a psychopath. They're not letting in a fraudulent relationship or like whatever it is, right? Because the more you do that, I feel like you're not qualifying the type of people to come in. Sure. And you don't want criminals and psychopaths to come in. You want like hardworking, good folks, and then have them be the majority of the people that come in. So,
how do you even gauge that though? Like I always wonder what it's like to be the person that's like you have to decide right now in this span of minutes if this person's allowed to stay or not.
that's why it's a long process.
Yeah.
Like so, like you know, green card process.
Vigilantes. They control themselves.
Good point. Thank you.
But like, think about the whole. Like, okay, so like, let's say refugee situations, right? So in refugee situations, there's no time to wait. They're getting murdered at the country. So all the boat folks or whatever, they set up camps, and then people stay temporarily, and then they get screened, and then after that, they get sponsored by different families. And I'm like, why don't we do that anymore? Or do we still do it? I don't know.
But how
Yeah.
do you check on somebody if they don't have any papers? Like how do you find out who they were?
Yeah.
Do they? Yeah,
That's
there's
the
not like they
challenge,
don't confirm like the database with like the Mexican database or something.
Is it kind of, or if they came all the way from like Honduras and they like traveled all the way up?
And they're just a bunch of village folks
Yeah,
or
they
whatever.
don't got no papers. They ran. They got nothing on them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you? Is it just a mental assessment at that point to like be like, oh, we're gonna have a psych person look after you and figure out if you're?
Or how do you even merit base them? It's like, hey, do something cool.
Yeah.
Skills.
Right,
Do
how do you find the merit?
Well, that's what the refugee camp is. It's just a bunch of different odd jobs
like
and
a
just
talent
see
show.
who like falls into what category.
Right.
Something fucking cool.
I don't know how the screening process was, but my church, well, I was not born during this time, but what my church did during that, when a lot of Vietnamese and Cambodian refugees came, is they helped out with the work program stuff. So like they would teach the different refugees that would come a skill or a trade that they wanted to learn, like auto mechanic or restaurant or whatever, right? And then so people at the church who had businesses would train them in a skill.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Way cool.